Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to incredible Copenhagen, where it's time now to meet our players. Ladies and gentlemen, from Stoke-on-Trent, England, he's the former two-time back-to-back champion of the world jackpot, Adrian And now, ladies and gentlemen, from St. Helens, England, the former World Youth Champion and a star of this year's Premier League, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the bully boy, Michael Smith!
Two heavyweight champions come together in Copenhagen, and there is simply a huge sense of expectation surrounding this second round clash. In one corner, you've got the two-time champion of the world, Adrian Lewis. In the other, the winner of 4 European Tour titles, a Premier League player, and a man who comes into this tournament as the number 2 seed, the former world youth champion, Michael Smith. This is a massive, massive encounter on what is what promises to be a terrific night of darts here at the Danish Darts Open. A case really can be made for either, especially given the way that Michael Smith has played on the European Tour over the past year and a half or so, and especially given the way that Adrian Lewis has suddenly found some great resurgence, making the final as he did in Gibraltar 2 weeks ago. That said, Smith does have a pretty good record against Lewis in the past. Will that count for anything this evening? Rob Malarkey in the chair for this one. Dan Dawson with the privilege of watching it as well.
Yeah, he does have an excellent record against Adrian Lewis.
The leg is Adrian to throw first. Game on.
Including beating him in a final back in April to win one of those Players' Championship events. It was in Barnsley, and he was superb right the way through the day, Michael Smith. Adrian Lewis actually made the final on both days that weekend and was beaten by Michael Smith and Mickey Mansell.
100.
Michael Smith, the number 2 seed, but Adrian Lewis, no number next to his name. He's had to do this the hard way, coming through qualifying, and it is fascinating watching him do this.
140.
Week after week on the Euro Tour, having to go the hardest possible routes. It was really tough for him in Gibraltar. Had to beat 4 major champions to go on and make the final.
95.
Well, here, he's already won his opening game against the guy who's top of the development tour order merit, Ted Evans. He's got Michael Smith, who's the 3rd most successful player in European Tour history. If he wins this,
100.
he'd have a world champion in Stephen Bunting. Then it'd either be multiple major winner James Wade or Joe Cullen, who's been one of the most consistent players on the Euro Tour, and 106 average in his game earlier on. I mean, it just does not get any easier. Peter Wright, Suljovic in the same half of the draw. But he can do it, that's the thing. And it is like watching, it's like watching a Rocky film. He's had his knockbacks, and he's having to fight his way back to the top. Ooh. 51 would have left him the bullseye.
And just look at the grimace on Adrian Lewis's face. I think had he taken that treble 17, he may well have taken the bullseye as well. Now Michael Smith's turn to look at a very big finish. Won't go this time for Bully Boy.
40.
And he's not really made too much of an indentation in that one either.
I'd probably be looking to split this if I was Adrian.
And he has. And he's now looking at 16s. He's now looking at double 8 for the opening leg and a hold of throw just to set himself on the way, but not there yet.
127.
It's a good finish, the 127, because you're looking at targets you go for regularly. Now it's the 19s. He's just strayed into the side.
Yeah.
59. Adrian won 8.
Well, Smith may get another opportunity, but he won't get another opportunity because Adrian Lewis finds double 4.
Well, the thing that I am fascinated about seeing in this match is if Michael Smith leaves himself on a big checkout and Adrian Lewis has got a checkout where he needs a bullseye at the end.
140.
Because in their final back in April, the turning point in the match had been very even for the first 4 legs or so. And Michael Smith was left on 158.
180.
And Adrian Lewis declined a go at the bullseye because he thought he's not going to take 158 out. And he did. And he went on and romped towards
91.
the title and £10,000, and he didn't lose another leg. Michael Smith won it 6-2. It was a very impressive display. But that was the key moment in the game. Now, I spoke to Adrian in Gibraltar last weekend. I asked him about that. And he said, I'd do it again. That was the right decision. I would do it again. And I made a point of asking him 3 times. He said, yes, definitely. Now, this is a man whose manager, agent, call it what you will, is Keith Deller, who won the World Championship because Bristow declined a dart at the bullseye.
With Deller on 138, of course, and it just fired Deller into something special, didn't it? That's the thing, it's the psychological battle that goes on around the actual throwing of the darts.
56.
Oh, you don't think I'll take that out, do you? Well, there you go.
I would suggest that Adrian Lewis would be unwise to leave Michael Smith a go at anything. And he should look at the 10s.
110.
Yeah. And he will do that, Michael Smith. If he's got 50 left, he will go for the treble 10 because double 10 is actually his favourite double, and he's quite happy to leave that rather than the double top. Now, it can be a problem if you start missing inside in the 5s.
180.
And it can be a problem if your opponent starts piling in 180s to leave on a double.
20.
But he is very good on double 10.
Edge on the second
There
leg.
you go.
Michael Smith.
Isn't he just?
The leg is Adrian to throw first.
Well, Michael Smith actually won his first 2 matches against Adrian Lewis. The first was at a UK Open qualifier in 2010 when Michael Smith was only 19.
135.
He beat him again later that year in the Players' Championship Series, 6-3, shortly after his 20th birthday. They have had plenty of meetings on the European Tour as well. And of course, they've met in the Premier League. Adrian Lewis beat Michael Smith 7-1 in the Premier League 2 years ago.
Yeah, things have changed, haven't they? Adrian Lewis not even in the Premier League this year.
60.
Michael Smith, runner-up.
Yeah, went very close to adding to his tally of 2 titles for the year so far. He almost, of course, won another one when he lost to Max Hopp in the final of one of these Euro Tour events earlier. So 2 titles on the board. He could perhaps have had 4, but he was blown away by Michael van Gerwen in the O2 Arena.
Yeah, nobody was stopping MVG that day, I'm afraid.
99.
Michael Smith has actually lost his last 3 European Tour matches. He was beaten in the second round in both Gibraltar and Zwolle on the back of a 7-0 defeat by van Gerwen in the semis in Sindelfingen.
60.
Yeah, he was struggling with his health, wasn't he, for a couple of those, but in Gibraltar, I don't think we could put it down to his health. I think it was just a poor display.
Well, he'd had a bit of time off, hadn't he? He made a couple of quarterfinals on the Pro Tour at Milton Keynes last month, and after that he was able to take some time off. He had almost 3 weeks away from competitive darts, actually, and I think in the long run that may well do him the world of good. Didn't do him any instant good in Gibraltar, but showed some class in reaching the last four in the second instalment of last weekend's doubleheader in Wigan. Lost to Rob Cross, who had secured his first title of the year the day before.
154.
Now then, could look at a couple of treble 19s here.
$84. Agent require 50.
Now, what double does he want, Adrian? I think it's double 16 he's going to leave. Yeah, you're never quite sure with Adrian. But he had problems with this earlier.
James on the third leg, Adrian. One leg is Michael to throw first.
Well, you could see him looking at the top half of that double 8 bed, and that's exactly where he went.
140.
It has been a long while since Adrian Lewis won a title. You've got to go back to last year. It was in Milton Keynes at a Pro Tour event. But he is playing and has been playing for a number of weeks now the sort of darts that means you expect him to add to his tally of PDC titles. He is back up to just outside the top 16 in the world rankings, and he will climb.
100.
Has been by and large a good day for the seeded players so far. In the evening session we've had 3 wins for the seeded players: Mervyn King, Mensur and Peter Wright.
100.
Mensur and Peter Wright both winning 6-1 and both winning with averages of exactly 96.86. Dan, did you know?
Well, I do now.
96.36 for Merv. That would have been one heck of a treble if you pulled that one out.
Oh,
is that
100.
in? It is in. And Adrian is just
sauntered up there.
Yeah.
I thought he may have just put in a little bit of a quick step to doubly make sure.
Oh, hang on. Oh.
97.
Well, Adrian looking for the first break of throw here.
Apparently you owe Chris Murphy your bottom dollar as well, he was telling me.
Do I?
Yes. Talk about that in a moment.
81.
Because Michael Smith is looking at 64 for a holder throw to level things up at 2 apiece. Tops for Smith.
44.
Chance for Lewis for the break.
40.
Well, particularly after that second dart, I'm astonished that Adrian didn't find the double top because it looked absolutely perfect.
Game shot on the fourth leg, Michael Smith. The leg is Adrian to throw first, game on.
Well, I think Michael will be relieved. He knows that he was in trouble there. So a mixture of relief and I think a mixture of frustration that he found himself in that position in the first place.
140.
And that he was reliant on Lewis not taking out his opportunities at doubles there. 2 from 8, Adrian Lewis.
100.
And I do recall when you spoke to Adrian Lewis after his win over Clayton Otten at Gibraltar a couple of weeks ago, when you put it to him about the prospect of being in this quarter of death. And I liked Lewis's response. He was very... He acknowledged it, but he just confidently said, well, do you know what, I'm not a bad player myself. And he thoroughly had every conviction that he would go on and perhaps do well that weekend. And he came through a very, very tough section. James Wade, Mensur Suljovic, all accounted for. And he's got another tough draw here again.
131. Adrian, you require 83.
Well, potential 11 darts leg for Adrian Lewis here. Double 16.
That double 8 again, and he keeps missing the double 16 and making things a little bit tricky for that double 8. And it doesn't work this time. And Michael Smith, a double chance on the treble 20. Only needs to hit it with one of his first 2 darts. And the bully boy, double 5.
120.
Really fancied that I really thought that was going to go. A missed dart at double 5 for a break of throw. Lewis now looking at double 4. Didn't like that. Likes that. Bang in the middle. And on we go. 3-2. No quarter given so far.
139.
What nonsense has Murphy been chatting then?
Apparently he said, I will bet you my bottom dollar that Peter Wright turns up wearing a red and white outfit.
Ah, yes.
In that
well, he does have more time to play with, to be fair. I would fancy Peter Wright to have some sort of Danish theme just to cynically get the crowd on his side.
Chris seemed to think it would happen today rather than any sort of caveat about future matches this weekend.
58.
I'm skint anyway. I haven't got a top dollar, a bottom dollar, any dollars in between to give Murphy. But even without some cynical PR move, it would appear that the Danish crowd, like the crowds everywhere else on the Euro Tour, have immediately taken Peter Wright to their hearts.
He is Mr. Euro Tour. He epitomises the European Tour.
The only ever present on the European Tour, though that will come to an end when we return following the break for the World Series action down under, and Peter Wright skips one.
Well, Michael Smith is in good shape on his throw here. Lewis still not down to a finish after his first 9 darts, but Smith is, so 6 darts from here for Michael Smith. And he might well need all 6 darts as well.
Well, he might need more, and that's a problem, because Adrian Lewis is going to set this up magnificently. 15s or 19s? Oh, what a set-up shot from Adrian Lewis. 165 to leave tops. Now then, Michael Smith. Treble 10 for double. Tops it is. World-class darts from these two.
Just warming up nicely now, isn't it?
Game on.
Adrian Lewis with that wonderful piece of approach play just to get himself into position with that 165, but Michael Smith just snuffing out all the danger with a very cool and a very calm and a very collected 110. Brilliant darts all round. Lewis averaging just over a ton, Smith
97.
almost a ton.
There you see. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Whole range of 5 and 6 dart visits to the board. Adrian Lewis has given himself a chance of producing a 12, and this is a little burst from Adrian. In the last 5 legs, he's had 4 180s and that 165 visit. It's on. Oh, I wanted to see if he was going to lay up there.
139.
Just to see if the theorem would have been proved.
64.
Yeah. Just to see how he would have made the approach. Would he have gambled again?
64.
We'll never know. Well, we might know if the opportunity arises once more in this one. But Lewis has the more straightforward decision here of double 14. Now the danger is coming inside on 7. He's gone outside with the first dart.
And
he's bang on the money with the second.
I think it's Michael to throw first. Game on.
Well, it's a great watch. It's absolutely absorbing this one, and the crowd are totally wrapped up in it, and there's a lot of emotional investment in this one as well. Lewis has got a lot of support here. He's obviously a very, very popular player, a 2-time world champion, but Michael Smith has no shortage of backers either.
Well, there you see, world-class stuff from these two, and very little between them in terms of the first 9 average, the overall average. Michael Smith's finishing is markedly superior.
140.
He is 50% on his doubles, 3 out of 6. Adrian has already missed 11 darts at double in this one.
100.
But 7 legs so far, every single one a hold of throw. The most important moment in this game could have been back in the practice room when they threw for the ball.
91.
Might well turn out like that.
Likely to be 136.
Former European champion, of course, Adrian Lewis. Won that title in 2013, but hasn't even qualified for the European Championship for the last 2 years.
58.
And that's indicative of why he is where he is in the world rankings, outside the world's top 16. Are there 16 better players than Adrian Lewis? Probably not, no. But he hasn't been turning up to tournaments, hasn't been qualifying for them over the last 2 years, and there are lots of extenuating circumstances for that. There have been
55.
injury and all sorts, but
78.
it has meant that when he had that bad world championship, he fell like a stone in the world rankings.
Yeah, Adrian Lewis only secured £5,000 from the 3 Euro Tour events he competed in last year, but he also qualified for a further 3, only to withdraw. Now that could have made a, well, I'm pretty sure it has made a big difference in terms of his qualification. He only competed in 3 Euro Tour events in 2016 as well, and his prize money was just short of what was needed to get in to the championships in Hasselt.
100.
But as you said last week or 2 weeks ago in Gibraltar, Dan, you know, Gibraltar has had a habit of being the venue that has altered the paths of players' careers, and it's every suggestion that it could work out for Adrian Lewis.
Well, I mean, it happened to Michael Smith, didn't it? He had that horrible year, first year in the Premier League. It didn't go well. It infected the rest of his game. He wasn't confident and he didn't know how to turn things around, but things started to improve, and it was cemented with that Euro Tour victory in Gibraltar last year, and it helped get him back on the right path.
60.
Got him into the Premier League, or helped to get him into the Premier League again, and he really seized his opportunity this time around. Went all the way to the playoffs and the final before being undone by a world-class display from the best player in the world, Michael van Gerwen, whom you will see tonight. The penultimate game this evening, taking on Scott Taylor.
I thought it was telling as well that even before the tournament started, even though Lewis was a qualifier, he was the 5th favourite of the bookies to win this at 22-1. They revised the betting, of course, after the first round matches, and he was still 5th favourite in the betting, only behind Smith, Cross, Wright and MBG. So that's, you know, that's exactly where he's standing as far as what the layers think.
140.
Well, and also, he's in the same little section of the draw as Michael Smith, so whoever comes through this will suddenly see their odds just hacked right down. And it could well be Adrian Lewis, because double top puts him a leg away.
Game's on the night leg. Adrian Lewis.
Very nicely done on 106.
First. Game on.
For 5-4. Players check out of the match for Lewis. Smith with that 110, of course. Smith off to a flyer in leg 10.
First 180 for the bully boy.
Lewis looking to return it with interest here.
140.
Now then, Michael, he found your range on the treble 20 in the last visit. Can he follow it up with another one? He's going to, isn't he? He's going to. Of course he is!
Smooth as you like. Flowing like a river, that motion from Michael Smith. 6 perfect darts. Looking good value to level things up, but Lewis once again coming to the fore. Is this the moment, Dan? Over to you.
Gibraltar helped rejuvenate Michael Smith's career. That's the last time we saw a 9-darter, and it was 5 years ago. And the wait goes on, but Smith has left his favourite double 10, after just 9 darts thrown. Adrian knows he has the throw in the deciding leg. If we are, and it very much looks like we are, going the whole distance once again this weekend in Copenhagen.
Yeah, I think Lewis would have liked just a nice fluid visit there, just to give him some momentum going into the decider. But we are into a decider. Michael Smith draws level once again. There has been nothing between these two from the word go. Nobody has been able to establish any significant daylight. Holds of throw throughout. Ton plus averages for both parties. Who will blink first?
He's in. He's in. It is 3 consecutive scoring visits of 180 from Michael Smith. We had to wait 10 legs for a maximum from the bully boy, and now he cannot stop hitting them.
120.
Potentially costly for Adrian Lewis.
And it's only 20 points on the floor, but that 20 could make a difference. Oh, he's doing it again. This is madness. This is madness from Michael Smith on the 9-darter for the second leg running.
Well, what a way to steal it would be for Michael Smith. Adrian Lewis looking just to stay in touch here.
58.
And he's not even down to a finish.
41.
Michael Smith, 6 perfect darts in the previous leg. 6 perfect darts in this leg as well.
80.
Time for a bounce out for Michael Smith, and that could mean that he only gets 1 match dart when he returns. Adrian Lewis, that extra 20 points, he would have been on a finish right now if it wasn't for his bounce out.
As I said, I thought at the time it could have been potentially very costly.
100.
It's made a huge difference. If Lewis had stepped up there needing 164, I wouldn't have put it past him. As it is, Michael Smith is looking at 61. He's now looking at double 18. He's now looking at double 9. And he's not there yet either. And he's furious with himself because Lewis, well, echoes of the James Wade win in Gibraltar here. He took out 86, I think, to beat James Wade when Wade was sitting on 32. Smith is sitting on 9. And Lewis is looking at double 12. And Adrian Lewis once again shows his class and comes through an almighty scrap and a brilliant match against the number 2 seed. And it is a 4th successive defeat on the European Tour for Michael Smith. They went toe-to-toe throughout in that one. And Adrian Lewis, despite Michael Smith starting off with 6 perfect darts, could not get the job done. And Adrian Lewis just kept on plugging away. And once again, just as he did against James Wade in Gibraltar, comes through with a finish of 80-something and breaks Michael Smith's heart and advances to the last 16.
Adrian,
what a brilliant match that was.
Talk about firing both barrels at you there, the last 2 legs.
It was a privilege actually to stand behind him and watch him throw them last 2 legs. Obviously back-to-back 9-daughters attempts, it was fantastic to watch.
Once again, you're here on the Euro Tour and you're having to do it the hard way, and you are doing it.
Exactly, that's what I mean. That's what I've set out this year. I've set my soul out. I'm not looking at majors. I'm taking each game as it comes and enjoying it. So, yeah, I'm loving it. I mean, obviously in Denmark for the first time. I'd just like to say thank you for everybody tuning out tonight. And I'm glad you've had a treat of a game there as well.
An incredible game of darts for the 2-time world champion and former European champion, jackpot, Adrian Lewis, is through to the final day of action, knocking out the number 2 seed. Coming up in just a moment, it is a clash of world champions. The bronze, the Danish, Steve Beaton, and the reigning champion of the world, Voltage, Rob Cross.